Hi students, our next topic is balanced outlook on law. This topic explains how important the law and regulations are. So, what is a regulated society? So, what is meant by law? What is the relationship between law and ethics? So, law is a body of rules of actions prescribed by a controlled legal authority and having a binding legal force, regulating the behavior of members of a community or country. Imagine if there isn't any law. What happened to the country? What happened to the community of people? Who will be punishing the persons who are doing wrong and who will be regulating their life according to the rules and regulations? No one will be following the law, rules if there isn't any punishment or if there isn't any controlled legal authority. So, this is a body of rules of actions prescribed by a controlled legal authority having a binding legal force, regulating the behavior of members of a community or country. So, what is the relation between law and ethics? Ethics is knowing the difference between what one has to do and what is the right thing to do. So, this is about knowing which is right and which is wrong, which activity is the right one and which activity is the wrong one. You shouldn't do that type of activity. So, that is about ethics. And law is minimum standard of behavior required for an individual by a given society. So, this is a minimum requirement for an individual to be in a society. Ethics go beyond what is required, but minimum requirement is law, and beyond the requirement what are the good characters one has to have is ethics. So all legal ethics cannot be all the legal things cannot be ethical. So ethical is beyond law and law is minimum requirement. Ethics is beyond the requirement. So you might know the difference, what is law, what is ethics. Laws with respect to social experimentation. Laws are necessary because people are not fully responsible. Only law can make the people responsible. The corporate are not encouraged to have moral initiative because of competitive nature in the society. Engineers have to play a vital role in framing, implementing, and propagating the rules of engineering. They have to strictly adhere to those rules. Laws may be lag behind technological development. Laws can also be imposed through regulatory agencies. So, what is industrial standards? Standardization, setting up standards or measuring sticks by which extent quality, quantity, value, performance, and service may be determined. So, industrial standards is nothing but it's a measuring stick. So, after looking into what is law, what is ethics, we are concentrating on standards. So, it's a measuring stick by which extent the quality, quantity can be measured. The process of defining and applying conditions required to ensure that a given range of requirements can be easily met with minimum changes in an economical and reproducible manner by latest technique. There are few standards types. Let's look into it. So there are certain criteria by which the standard types are measured and purpose of those standards and examples are also mentioned. The first one is uniformity of physical properties and functions. Based on this standard, the purpose is to measure the accuracy in measurement, interchangeability, ease of handling. And example are standards of weight, screw thread, dimensions. Next criteria is safety and reliability. It Its purpose is to prevent injury, death, and loss of income. Examples are like National Electric Code, Boiler Code, a few other examples. The third criteria is quality of product. Fair value of product is the purpose. Examples like lamp life, plywood grades are examples. And the next criteria is quality of personnel and service. Competence in carrying out tasks is the purpose. And accreditation of schools is an example of these type of quality of personnel and service criteria. Use of accepted procedures criteria. The purpose is to sound design, ease of communications. Drawing symbols, test procedures are few examples of these type of standards. So here are the few criteria and the purposes and the examples of standards. So what is the benefit of standard? What are all the disadvantages of standard? The benefits are it helps the manufacturers, the clients and the public. So they will be sure to buy a product if it is a standard one. Maintain a steady and balanced competition among the industries. If we are standard, we can stand still. Ensure a measure of quality and facilitate more realistic trade-off decisions. Negative aspects are all that for standards. Standards may reduce choice for customers because of reduced variety. If standard is there, the choices will be less. So it reduces the choices of customers because of the reduced variety. Excessive standardization may reduce the initiative and interest of workers. Sometimes manufacturers, trade unions may impose unnecessary changes in provisions for achieving their self-centered goals. So there are benefits and negative aspects as well. Here comes the problem with the law in engineering. What is the problem in following the law while we are in engineering field? The existence of minimal complaints rule has a greatest problem nowadays. So the rules are framed many years ago. There isn't any modifications or clear-cut modifications in the rules. So it will be great problem nowadays. For example, Titanic. It is inevitable that laws lags behind the technological development. Development is there in technology wise nowadays, but law is not modified by the improved technology. So many laws are non-laws. They are not enforceable sanctions. They are useless. Laws are having apparent immunity. The politicians are violating the laws. So there are many problems because law is not updated, but the technology is developed a lot. Then what is the proper role of law in engineering? So establish reasonable minimal standards of professional conduct. Just a minimal standard of professional conduct is possible due to present law. It provides some self-interested motive for most of the people and corporations. And it acts as a protector of ethical engineers few times, sometimes, and in some places maybe there where laws are little considerate. In places of strong experimentation needed, it may be considered little in a meager way. In that conditions, rules will not find all possible outcomes. It's somewhat difficult. Okay. So, what is engineering responsible regarding law? Engineers should respect law. The moral responsibility of an engineer is not merely following the laws, and their emphasis should go beyond that during technological development. So, with this, dear students, I think you might have understand the balanced outlook on law, what is ethics, what are the flaws in law, and why engineers should follow the law, and so on. So, with this, we conclude today's lecture, and we look into next topic in next lecture. Thank you.